You check your bank account. Again. You've been working. You've been trying to save. You've skipped purchases. You've said no to a few things. You've told yourself, this month I'll be disciplined. And yet the number barely moves. 1,200, 1,450, then back down after a bill hits. Every month feels like progress that immediately disappears. You're not reckless, you're not lazy, you're not blowing money on anything extreme. But no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to break past that invisible ceiling. You hear people say, the first 10,000 is the hardest. Instead of feeling motivated, you feel irritated. Because from where you're standing, it doesn't feel hard. It feels impossible. Here's what almost nobody says out loud. If you're stuck under your first $10,000, it's not because you're bad with money. It's because you're sitting in the worst possible position of the modern money system. If that feels familiar, this video is for you. Because what you're experiencing isn't a lack of discipline. It's the result of a system that quietly benefits from keeping you stuck under your first $10,000 for as long as possible. We're given a very simple story about saving. Spend less. Be disciplined. Stop buying small treats. Make coffee at home. Cancel subscriptions. If that story were complete, millions of disciplined people would quietly build wealth every year. But they don't. Because while you're trying to save your first $10,000, the system is doing several things at the same time. It's draining small fees from your account. It's offering easy credit at high interest. It's underpaying labor while prices rise faster than wages. And it's blaming you for the outcome. The message is simple. If you're not saving, it's your fault. The reality is, the game is tilted against your first $10,000. This is what I call the $10,000 trap. Your first $10,000 isn't hard because you're irresponsible. It's hard because you're fighting math, psychology, and a financial operating system that works against you all at once. Let me say something that sounds wrong at first. Your first $10,000 is harder than your next $100,000. That only sounds ridiculous if you think money grows in a straight line. It doesn't. Money grows mechanically, and the mechanics are stacked against you at the beginning. When you're below $10,000, almost all progress comes from income alone. More hours, more discipline, more saying no. If you save $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year. There's no real compounding helping you yet. No acceleration, just grind. And that progress is fragile. One car repair wipes out months of effort. One medical bill resets you emotionally. One surprise expense sends you right back to where you started. Not because you failed, but because your margin is tiny. When margin is small, every shock hits harder. This is where the system tightens its grip. Low balances mean overdraft fees. Low buffers mean credit cards. Credit cards mean interest. Being broke is expensive. And that's not accidental. The financial system monetizes instability. Banks and lenders quietly benefit when you never get past that first $10,000. Low balances create fees. Thin buffers create debt. Debt creates predictable interest payments. Your lack of savings is someone else's revenue stream. The system doesn't need you to collapse. It just needs you close enough to the edge that you can't escape. And the damage isn't just financial, it's psychological. When savings are low, every withdrawal feels like failure. Every setback feels permanent. Your brain stays in threat mode. Scarcity narrows thinking. You stop planning long term. You react instead of deciding. That's not a character flaw, it's biology. Now here's where things start to change. At around $10,000, something subtle but powerful happens. Your money stops doing 10 jobs at once. Emergencies stop feeling catastrophic. Bills stop feeling like threats. You stop checking your balance every day. Stress drops. Thinking expands. Decisions improve. That isn't motivational fluff, it's neuroscience. Reduced financial stress gives you back cognitive bandwidth. And better thinking leads to better financial outcomes. Then the math finally starts to help you instead of fighting you. At $2,000 earning 5%, you make about $100 a year. You barely notice it. At $10,000, that's $500 a year. Still modest, but now it's real. At $50,000, it's $2,500. At $100,000, it's $5,000 a year without lifting a finger. Returns feel fake until they don't. Most people quit before compounding becomes visible. Not because it doesn't work, but because the early phase feels pointless. Once you cross 10,000, the system's grip loosens. You stop panicking over small expenses. You stop using debt reactively. You start optimizing instead of just surviving. This isn't luck, it's leverage. The rules change after 10,000. The first 10,000 is about consistency, protection from downside, staying in the game. The next 100,000 is about allocation, optimization, letting time do more of the work. Different phase, different system. Think of money like pushing a heavy object uphill. At the bottom, it barely moves. It slips back. Every push feels useless. Once you crest the hill, momentum starts working with you. Most people quit right before physics starts helping them. So how do you break the $10,000 trap? Let's make this practical. First, separate emergency money from growth money. Give each job its own account. One account exists just to keep you alive when something goes wrong. The other exists to grow slowly, without being raided every time life happens. Second, automate a small, boring amount you can sustain in bad months. Not your perfect number, your minimum number. If you can only guarantee $50 a month, automate that. Consistency beats intensity. Third, kill fees and high-interest debt before chasing returns. Paying 20% on a credit card while trying to earn 7% in the market is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Plug the hole first, then pour. Fourth, focus on increasing income through skills, not hacks. At this stage, an extra $200 or $300 a month does more for you than squeezing another $10 out of your budget. New skills, better job options, small side income. Those move the needle on your first 10,000, far more than arguing with yourself about a $5 coffee. And finally, track net worth, not just your savings balance. When you only stare at your checking account, it always feels like nothing is changing. When you track debt going down and savings going up, even slowly, you can see the trend tilt in your favor. That visibility keeps you in the game long enough for the mechanics to finally flip. Here's the part nobody tells you. The first 10,000 doesn't make you rich, it makes you calm. And calm people make better decisions. That's why the next 100,000 feels easier. Not because the world changed, but because you did. If you're under 10,000, you're not behind. You're inside the hardest part of the system, and now you can see it. This channel exists to explain the systems shaping your money and your future, without hype and without shaming you for struggling inside them. If this helped you see your first 10,000 differently, subscribe. Understanding the system is the first step toward beating it. Thanks for watching.